Hello, and welcome back to Create Astral, where today I think it's finally time we start looking at heading towards the moon. Before we get there though, we definitely need to move up to the surface because I'm getting very tired of having to dig out every time I need to put in a new machine here. There we go, that's better. Eventually, we're definitely going to move the rest of the stuff up to the surface, but we'll come back to that in a little bit. For now, though, we can take a look at what we need to start heading towards the moon here. And I think the first thing that we're going to try to do is locate some of the shimmer. This says that it can be found in a lake somewhere in the world, which I believe we should be able to locate using this explorer's compass, which definitely isn't too hard to make. We'll just have to get some molten iron onto a compass. I think that was right. There we go. And now with this, we should be able to super easily search up Shimmer Lake under this, and it should point us in the direction that we need to go. And it looks like we're here. I think we may have to dig down in order to get to it. Yep, here we are. Now, not only are we looking to grab some of the shimmer, but these shimmer lakes also have lots of moon sand. We'll need some of this coming up soon. Now, I definitely want to be able to get more than one bucket of this stuff without having to walk back and forth between the two. To solve that issue, why don't we look at getting ourselves a train? All we're going to have to do to set those up is start off with a little sequence assembly line here. All this is going to use is some stone slabs and zinc nuggets, and this is going to turn these into train tracks for us. We'll also need a couple of these train casing blocks, which are just made with andesite casings and these sturdy sheets. And these are also super easy to make. All we need to do is press down some powdered obsidian until it turns into those sturdy sheets. Now all we need to do is throw these onto some andesite casings, and we should get some train casings out of these. One of these we're going to use to craft up a set of train controls, and then the other we'll use to craft up two of these train stations. And I'm not entirely sure how this works yet, so we're going to learn this together. And it looks like we'll need another train casing on the highlighted tracks, so we'll go ahead and throw that on there. Now I'm sure that we can just throw any block on here until we get a better source of train casings. And then we'll just need to throw the controls up in the front here. And if we assemble it, it should all come together, and we can right click on the controls here and move it back and forth. Now what we're really going to use this for though is to transport all that shimmer in that lake there. So I've got one of these portable fluid interfaces. We're just going to throw this onto our giant tank here. Make sure all this is connected up. Now I think we're going to need a lot more tracks than what we have in order to make it all the way to the lake. So we'll just have to keep letting our track machine here run for a bit. While we wait for those though, I'd like to go ahead and set up a tree farm. And these are super simple to set up. We've done this a bunch of times. We just have to set up a little underground windmill and throw a mechanical bearing on top of that. Then we just need to attach some mechanical saws in the way that this is going to spin, just like that there. Super glue all these together. And then we'll also need some deployers 2 blocks above the ground just to replant the saplings. And make sure to set a sapling filter on all of these. Throw a barrel in the middle for storage. And make sure to super glue all of the rest of this just to connect it all up. And then lastly, we'll just throw a portable storage interface in the front. Hand feed this a bunch of saplings. Then all we should have to do is right click this bearing here, and it should start spinning around. Then out the front of this machine here, we're going to attach one of these portable storage interfaces. And I'm going to have all of the items go into a vault here, just because I believe we can use some of these storage units and have them auto import out of the vault. Yep, there we go. And then we can lock them so that they'll only export sticks into that one. And this just seems to be a much better way of easily sorting all of the items that come out of this. And there we go. Now we have a fully functioning tree farm. Let's go back and check up on how our train tracks are doing. Our train machine has been running for a good while here, and we've got a good amount of train tracks. Now all we need to do is take these and build a track long enough so that it takes us right above the Shimmer Lake. And here we go. We've now got a train set up for Shimmer. All we're doing for this is we have a hose pulley set up down here, and this just drops all the way down to the Shimmer Lake, and then we'll extract it using a couple of pumps. All that is going into a tank for storage, and then when the train comes, these portable fluid interfaces connect, and it should put it into the tank. Here we go, I've got it working now. All we had to do was use a pump instead on this tank, and that will put it into the fluid interface for us. And here we go, we now have a train for Shimmer. I'm not going to automate this just yet, just because I don't really think we have a need for it, but this will be plenty for what we need to do for now. The first thing we're going to be making with this Shimmer are these shimmering stones, and these are going to be used to make the portal to the moon. All we have to do for that is pour it straight into a basin on top of this moonstone, and each one of these takes about 50 seconds to craft up, so we'll let these run for a bit. While we wait for those, there is something else we can make with Shimmer, and that is going to be these andesite pavements, and you actually walk faster on these, so these are definitely going to be very useful. We just need to make some concrete powder real quick. This definitely isn't very hard to make. Here we go, and now with these we should be able to lay down some paths that are faster than normal walking. Oh yeah, that's way better. Now that we have a bunch of logs coming out of this tree farm, I'd also like to set up a andesite casing farm too. And this is also super easy to set up. We'll just need a chest here at the beginning for our logs to come out of. And then those are going to go through this mechanical saw, and that will strip them. And then we'll just need a deployer to put andesite onto them. And that's really all it is. We just need to connect cogwheels to this to power it. And there we go, there's our andesite casing machine. Here we go, and now that we've got all the shimmering stone, we can build ourselves a portal. Now, to actually light this thing, we'll need one of these Astral conduits, and this is just a little bit of a complicated recipe here. We'll need to pick up a few of these redstone chips, which isn't too hard. We just need to do a sequence assembly recipe down here. We'll just throw a couple of electron tubes down, and this will run under some molten copper, some wire, and then we'll get pressed. And these have to go through 12 times, I believe. And we only need 2 of them for now anyway, so no worries on automating this. Here we go, we've got both of them coming through now. One of these is going to be used for the Astral conduit, and we also need a block of diamond, and we have none, which is always a good start. So we may need a little mining trip real quick. Here we go. Now we should be able to just throw all 4 of these into a basin and watch as it makes our gemstone. That was fast. And there we go, there's our portal. Before we can actually go to the moon though, we'll need to make a spacesuit, which are all fairly simple to craft up. I've gone ahead and gathered all the materials we need here. And there we go, there's our full spacesuit. To actually give our spacesuit some oxygen, we'll need to craft one of these oxygen loaders. And to get oxygen, we'll need to craft one of these multi-block electrolyzers. Again, not super complicated, just a lot of copper, but we should be able to get these pretty easily. And here we go, we now have everything we need to build up the electrolyzer multi-block. All we need to do to set this up is put the electrolyzer on the bottom and fill the rest of the bottom layer with these copper casings. And then on the second layer, we put these copper coil blocks. And then we'll put a copper casing roof on top. We will need a couple of pumps here to pump in water and pump out the oxygen. Here we go, we've now got water coming into this just using a pump and an infinite water source here. And I've put another mechanical pump below the electrolyzer. Both of these actually have to be touching the electrolyzer itself instead of any block on the multi-block. But we got that working now, and that is pumping out oxygen into the oxygen loader. There we go, and all we have to do is put our spacesuit over on this side, and that will fill it up with all of the oxygen that's in here. And now that we have that, we should be ready to take our first step onto the moon. And we get a bunch of rewards for getting onto the moon here. And this also opens a whole new chapter in the quest book. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to save that for next time. That's going to do it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.